We Bear Bears might seem like a lighthearted show, but hidden beneath its charm is a heartbreaking story most people never notice. Grizz always seemed like the confident leader of the trio, loud, energetic, and always up for an adventure. But under all that, he was carrying something much heavier. One day, the Bears walked into a burrito restaurant, and Grizz saw a food challenge. Finish an entire lineup of burritos in an hour, and you get your picture on the wall of fame. He laughed, saying he didn't even need the full hour, just 30 minutes. And he was right. He devoured every burrito like it was nothing, down to the last one. But then, instead of eating the final burrito, he held it tight and then ran out of the restaurant, leaving Panda and Ice Bear with the bill. Over the next few days, Grizz took the burrito everywhere. The movies, the amusement park, an anime photo booth. He treated it like his closest companion. But his brothers, Panda and Ice Bear, didn't understand. They searched online and found cases of people getting attached to objects, some even marrying them. They started to worry as this wasn't just a phase. It was something deeper. That night, during a thunderstorm, they made a plan to take the burrito away. As Grizz slept, they grabbed it and ran. But Grizz woke up and chased after them. And when they climbed an electricity pylon, Grizz begged them to give it back. But before they could do anything, a bolt of lightning struck and the burrito was gone. Grizz went into shock and kept staring at the spot where it had been. And when his brothers tried to talk to him, he wouldn't respond. So they did the only thing they could think of. They started a food fight. Eventually, Grizz started laughing and came out of it. As they walked home, he wondered why he had been so obsessed with the burrito. But then, the episode showed one final scene, a flashback. In the heavy rain, a baby bear clung to a tree. As the firefighter climbed up, reaching out with steady hands, the warmth of the embrace, the steady heartbeat against his tiny frame, it was the first time Grizz had ever felt safe. That moment stayed with him. And if you rewatch the episode, you'll understand that this burrito wasn't just food. It was a reminder of the one time in his life when safety wasn't a fleeting illusion, and letting go of it wasn't about losing a meal. It was about losing that feeling all over again. But Grizz's story ran deeper than a single memory. Before he met Panda and Ice Bear, he had a home. Or at least he thought he did. He lived with a human family who played and ate with him. But it was all a lie. They were actors. The house was just a set. And one day, without warning, they replaced him with a kid. Just like that, he was written out of their lives. That's when the truth hit him. It was never real. It was scripted. So he left. He had to find something real. Something that wouldn't disappear when the cameras stopped rolling. That's why Panda and Ice Bear meant everything to him. They weren't perfect, but they stayed. They weren't just companions. They were family. Grizz masked his pain with jokes and boundless energy, always keeping the mood light. But deep down, all he ever wanted was to belong, to feel safe, to have someone who wouldn't leave. Panda's past may not be as tragic as Grizz's, but it explains a lot about who he is today. His childhood was simple, repetitive, and lonely. He lived in an animal sanctuary where every day followed the same pattern: wake up, eat, sleep, and repeat. He had no companions, no adventures, just the same four walls and the quiet hum of routine. To him, that was normal. He didn't know the world outside even existed. One day, a caretaker noticed Panda's loneliness and did something unexpected. They gave him a toy. It was just a stuffed bear, but to Panda, it was everything. He named it Panda 2, his first friend. His twin, the only other presence in his world. Together, they went through the same routine, but this time, Panda wasn't alone. He even made a tiny necklace for his new friend, matching the one he wore himself. For a while, that was enough, but Panda 2 became more than just a toy. He eventually became a reflection of Panda's unspoken thoughts, the feelings he didn't understand yet. While Panda tried to be content, Panda 2 was restless. One day, a noise from the next room caught their attention. Panda had always been curious about it, but he was too small to see beyond the high window. That's when Panda 2 encouraged him to try, or at least what Panda thought. Climbing onto his friend's back, Panda finally got a glimpse beyond his tiny world. And what he saw changed everything. A television flickered in the next room, showing moving images of places he had never seen before. Stories unfolded on the screen, full of color and adventure. For the first time, Panda realized there was more out there. Something bigger than his tiny sanctuary. His world, which once felt complete, suddenly seemed unbearably small. TV became an obsession and his first window to the outside, a world of excitement and wonder that he had only just discovered. But Panda couldn't reach it. The screen was always just out of his grasp. and the idea of escaping terrified him. His sanctuary was all he had ever known, but Panda 2 was there to push him forward. So they made a plan. One morning, when the food chute opened, Panda climbed inside with Panda 2 strapped to his back. He snuck through the facility, moving past workers, hiding in the shadows, until finally he reached the television. But it was off. He had risked everything to get here, but he still couldn't grasp the world he longed for. He refused to stop there. If he couldn't reach the world through the screen, he would find another way. As he wandered deeper into the facility, he saw something he had never seen before. A door. The way out, but freedom wouldn't come easily. A worker spotted him and rushed to catch him. In a rush, he knocked over a bookcase, blocking the path just long enough to make a run for it. He found an open window. His only chance. But it was too high. Once again, Panda 2 was there, without hesitation. It offered itself as a step, and when Panda finally climbed, he was finally free. But when he turned back, Panda 2 sat motionless. It had given Panda everything: a friend, a dream, and the courage to leave. And now it was staying behind. Panda couldn't do anything but watch as the sanctuary disappeared into the distance. He had gained his freedom, but he had lost the only friend who had ever been there for him. That moment shaped Panda forever. From then on, he threw himself into life with everything he had. He embraced pop culture, anime, and every little joy he could find. He cherished his brothers and their adventures. He never took the outside world for granted, because deep down, he knew he had to live for the both of them. Panda 2 had given up everything so he could have a life beyond those four walls. And Panda was determined to make every second of it count. Ice Bear's story was the saddest of all. It began in the freezing Arctic, where he was just a small cub, completely alone and hungry. He saw a bird and tried to catch it, but it flew away. But before he could try again, he heard hunters and their dogs approaching. There was no time to think. He had to run. While escaping, he stumbled upon a tent. It looked empty. Inside, he smelled food cooking. His hunger took over, and he moved toward the pot. But before he could take a bite, someone approached. Ice Bear quickly hid under the bed. A man named Yuri. Tough, with a cold, serious expression. And when he noticed Ice Bear, he grabbed an axe and chased him. While Ice Bear ran away, Yuri tripped and injured his leg. Ice Bear could have escaped, but he didn't. He felt bad and helped Yuri instead. Even after that, Yuri still didn't want him around. But when he heard the hunters outside, he realized Ice Bear had nowhere else to go, and so he let him stay, but only if he helped with chores. Yuri gave him tasks like chopping wood, making tea, and cooking food. He also warned him never to open a chest in the tent. At first, Ice Bear made mistakes, but Yuri didn't give up on him. Over time, he became stronger, faster, and more useful. He even learned to read. Yuri never had to teach him that, but he did anyway, just because he wanted the little bear to have more skills. As time passed, they grew closer. Ice Bear became more like a son. They ate together, worked together, and even did math together. For a while, it seemed like they could live like that forever. But then, everything changed. One day, Yuri left the tent, and Ice Bear couldn't help his curiosity. He opened the same chest Yuri had told him never to touch, just to find a photo of Yuri with his family. They looked happy with a little girl holding a wooden horse. But when Yuri returned, Ice Bear quickly closed the chest and acted normal. Later, Ice Bear carved a wooden horse just like the one in the picture as a gift for Yuri. But when Yuri saw it, Ice Bear showed him the photo, not realizing he had done something wrong. Yuri threw the wooden horse aside and yelled. Then he kicked Ice Bear out of the tent. Ice Bear didn't understand. He ran. He felt scared, confused, and heartbroken. He thought Yuri was his family. Now he was alone again. But before he could figure out what to do, the hunters returned. They spotted him and sent their dogs after him. Just when it seemed like he was trapped, Yuri came back. Without a word, Yuri swung his axe and broke the chains holding Ice Bear. Then he grabbed him and threw him onto a piece of floating ice. Eventually, Ice Bear ended up in a town, but he didn't know how to act around people. He tried to take food from a bakery, but the owner threw him out. He sat there, hungry and sad, until a group of kids approached him. They became his friends, and one day, they tried to rob the bakery. Ice Bear followed them inside, but remembered stealing was wrong. He stopped and walked away, leaving his new friends behind. Meanwhile, in another part of the world, a bear named Grizz was searching for a family. One day, he saw a little panda stuck on a railway track. Just as he pulled him to safety, a train came rushing toward them. That was when Ice Bear appeared and pulled them both away in time. From that moment on, the three bears stuck together. They were different, but they chose to be brothers. Ice Bear didn't speak much, but he didn't have to. He had finally found a family again, a real one, and this time he was never letting go. And that was the tragic backstory behind We Bare Bears, one that makes their bond even more meaningful. See you in the next video.